Hi, good day. Our topic for today is about data visualization using Microsoft Excel. Okay. Now, the data set that we have is taken from a learning management system. It's basically a part of a course engagement report, and this is just a snippet. So as you can see, it comprised of three columns. We have college, and then we have the course name, and then we have the total time spent. And it is also made up of 3,183 rows without the header. So this will be the data that we'll be using all throughout the activity or all throughout the simulation. So how can we visualize the current data in such a way that it will be easily understood by anyone who would want to see the result of this particular data? So as a data manager, your objective will be you want to generate a report that would display the average time spent of any user from a particular department. Again, the objective will be you want to generate a report that would display the total time spent of any user from a particular department. So for you to visualize the report, you need to have a summary, right? You cannot just go and perform the visualization immediately using the current data set that you have. Of course, there are ways, there are tools that can do that. But for this particular example, we're going to summarize it first so that it will be easy for you to create the charts or graphs that you want to achieve. So for us to summarize the report in this example, I will be using a pivot table, right? So there are ways so that you cannot use, or so there are multiple ways in terms of how you summarize the data, but the easiest way is using a pivot table. Now, you might ask me, sir, how do you perform pivot table? How do you do that? There will be a separate discussion into what pivot table is and how can you do that? What are the parts? What are the needed requirements for a pivot table? But then again, there will be a separate discussion for that. So what I want you to do now is just go ahead and download the sample file so that you can follow along in terms of how do we proceed with visualizing or summarizing the data given the current data set. So just follow with me in terms of how do I use the pivot table, because I will create a separate discussion for pivot table, right? So from the current data set that you have, just make sure that your active cell is inside the table. Like for now, the active cell is in cell A12. If I'm going to click this one, the active cell here is now at C20. So just make sure that the active cell is inside the table range that you want to perform the summary with. And after that, go to Insert ribbon here at the top portion. And on the left side of the Insert ribbon tab, just go to Pivot Table. And then it will basically open up a pop-up window wherein you can see there are two parts of two parameters required for the pivot table. First is the range or the source table. It basically highlights all the columns and all the rows inside the current table that we have. And then if you're not satisfied with the highlighted range, you can manually override using the button here. And also the program is asking you, where do you want to perform the pivot table? Is it in a different worksheet or is it in the existing worksheet? Now we will be creating a pivot table in a new worksheet. So we will choose the default one, which is new worksheet, and then just click OK. So if you notice, we now have our pivot table sheet. Here, I'm just going to rename this one. I'll just make it a pivot table so that it will be easily recognized. So this will be our raw data, and this will be the pivot table data we have. So how can you perform the pivot table now? Again, the only reason that I will be using the pivot table because I want the summary to be as easy as possible. So from the pivot table field, just choose the college or department, because the objective will be to generate an average time spent per college with a given data set. So I'm going to drag, since all the columns now becomes an element in a pivot table. So I'm going to drag college department to rows. So basically it will list down all the unique colleges and departments in row 1 or in column A, and then I'm going to drag total time spent in values. So it will basically just sum up all the time spent from a given college. Now we have to take note that we're not getting the actual summation of all the total time spent of any user from any college, but we want to get the average time spent. So from here, we just simply change this one from value field settings. We're going to summarize values by, and then we will change it to average. And this is the kind of report that you want, or this is the kind of number that you want to get in terms of your objective to perform or to visualize the average time spent of any college, of any user from any college. So now that you have your needed summary, that will be the sole purpose of pivot table for this particular tutorial. So I'm going to copy this one so that we will not be using the pivot table again. I'm just going to copy this one, and then I will paste it here at any blank cell. That will be fine. So this is the pivot table, and this is now a regular table that we have. So this will be, I'm going to change the header for this one. This is college/department. And this is the average total time spent in hours, right? So if you notice, I'm just going to standardize the number of decimals. So I'm just going to decrease it to just 2 decimal points. So now that our data is standardized, what we will do is we're going to insert now our visualizations. Again, visualizations is just graphs or charts that would make any user or anyone who would look up to your report that they could easily understand and make conclusions based on the given data that you have, right? So I'm going to highlight everything here, and then I'm going to insert a chart. And if you notice, if you click recommended chart, the program will automatically choose what's the best chart given for the given data set or for the given summary. I'm going to click recommended chart, and it gives us the column chart, right? So I'm just select that one, and here we now have our column chart. So we can see that this is the distribution that we have in terms of the college and the average time spent per user in that particular college. So what's next? You can actually perform tons of procedures in the given chart, right? So if you notice, if you click on the chart, you have the plus sign, then you have the brush sign. The brush sign basically is just the style. So what style do you want to be applied to your chart? You can have it in this way, you can have it in this manner, you can have it that way, this way. There are tons of styles that you can apply to your chart. Let's just say I want this one. And then you can go to color if you want. There are tons of colors that you can use. You can use colorful or the monochromatic charts if you want to do that. You can also perform that using the colors tab under the brush button here. Also, let's just say you want to add some elements to your chart. So if you notice, you have the green button here. It says chart elements. Now you have to understand that each field in your chart now becomes an element. So like, for example, this is an element, the other one is also an element. And each individual column chart is an element as well. Even the call outs are elements. So you can actually manipulate all the elements in the given chart. So like, for example, you want to add an access title, right? So access titles, basically, if you notice, it will appear somewhere here in the y-axis. So I'm going to add an access title, and the title would be average, or this is total time spent. Average total time spent. It is average total time spent. Average total time spent. And then this should be in hours. So that's how you perform visualization of data in Microsoft Excel. Now let's just say you want to sort out because you want to understand, you want to display it in such a way that would be easily understood which department has the highest average total time spent and which department has the lowest. Of course, you want to sort it out. You just have to highlight this part and then right click. You can see that there's a sort option here. You just have to choose largest to smallest, and then you're going to expand the selection. Of course, you want to do that. And as you can see, it automatically arranges the data set. So the department with the highest number of average time spent in any course is college 13, and the department or the college with the lowest number of total time spent per hour in a course is college 21. So as you can see, there's a big difference from 370 and 370.76 hours, and the lowest one is 4.13 hours. So that's actually a big difference. So from here, you can actually present it, and it would be easily understood by anyone who would want to watch your report. So instead of just watching the numbers here, when I present it like this, and it would be nicer, and it would be easily understood uh, by your viewer.